What's up, guys? Craig Mack here, Liberty Bell Beekeeper. So, my last video I was showing you how I had some damage outside to my hanging gardens, and I have to create a new circumstance for the rest of my hanging gardens because I'm out of the chain link fence frames that I was using, and the one that I had is destroyed and I can't use it anymore. So I have to create a new thing. So what I did first yesterday, which I was hoping was going to work, but it's not. Fortunately, all that material I had here in the shop, so I just lost the labor time. But let me show you what I did here. So here again is my hanging baskets. As you can see, these are 12 foot long, approximately 6 foot tall, and approximately 6 foot in between each section, which allows me to hang 4 of these barrels. So I was going to replicate that with wood. As you can see here, I got a 2x8 and a 2x4 across the top to keep it from twisting this way, to keep it from twisting this way. It's pretty straight, but it's it's old lumber. A couple of 4x4s that I notched. So that would sit in there. Used a couple joist hangers just to kind of hold it all together, and that's doing just fine. Now the problem is that where I go to hang the baskets, they might as well be on the ground, or this wood is going to block the other side from the sun. Perhaps you can see what I'm talking about if I drag these over. So if I hung these even at that height, as you can see, I'm going to get a decent bit of blockage of sun, and I want to try to utilize as much of these full sun barrels as I can. So what I did instead, I'm going to keep this top rail and use that, but I'm just going to extend my posts to approximately 7 foot. So that will make them freestanding, and that becomes the issue. When something like a post is freestanding, it has to be anchored to the ground in some fashion, has to be set into the ground in some fashion, or it has to have some kind of plate that prevents it from moving left or right. So that's what I'm doing now. As you can see, I got my full length 4x4 that I did some notch work, and I created these bases that are 2 foot wide, and that does a pretty good job of keeping that from tipping in any direction. Now, it'll move, I can move it around a lot, but once that beam gets on here and goes across, I'm going to put some diagonal bracing to keep it from being able to sway like this. So I had to make a series of notches in my posts. We'll take this one as a for instance. I basically notched out enough for a 2x6 to fit in the crosses, but one of the legs is going to be 2x8, so I made a different notch. Let me show you how this works. So I have this notch here, and then my 2x6 piece is notched just the same, so that will set down inside of the 2x8 and create my crosshatch, or create my cross there. And as you can see, it's notched out to accept, or for the 4x4 post rather, this will slip in here, I think. Trying to do this with one hand while I'm shooting video is not the easiest thing. Okay, there it goes. As you can see, it'll slide in. If I smack it, and bada bing, bada boom, there is my post that I can then take. Oh, this is really wet, pressure treated lumber. And then there it goes. So that'll hold my post upright. I'll keep that from swaying. I'll get some glue and some screws down in there, although that could probably, do its own thing and just stay unfastened, although I'm going to put some fasteners in it just to keep it from buckling, because those little pieces down there in the post are only a 1-inch square, so I'll screw them and glue them up pretty good. But that will do the job of holding my hanging baskets, and then I'll put my beam across the two, obviously not at that width, but at about 12 foot. I have my other piece back there. All right, what's up guys? Craig Mack here. So, working on my new planters, and I got them installed. Well, I got the framework for the posts and everything installed. So in the previous video, or previous portion of the video, you saw what I did with these, the posts themselves. I created a similar notch up top, so that way my beam could drop in there as well and be supported. You can see I have the two of them. I had a piece of old scaffolding bracing. Doesn't fit any of the scaffolding that I have, so it actually worked out perfectly for this space to give me plenty of room in between the two sides, so that I could walk it, you know, in the middle of the two beds, and you know, keeps this thing from racking. So that worked out perfectly. I had the hardware. I did have to buy these 4x4s because I didn't have anything long enough. Initially, I started with a short one. It just wasn't high enough off the ground. So now I can hang these last 8 containers. These are empty. These have to be emptied. I can hang them in this space, 4 on either side, and that gives me 4 more full sun planter beds in this area. I got to move my butterfly bush, probably move that over into this space that I have just empty at the moment. And I'm probably going to do something similar back here with reworking this bed and reworking those. Although I like the way they look, they're just not serving me the purpose that I was hoping that they were going to serve with how they're oriented. I might just take the doors and chop them in half and make 2 rows. I have plenty more doors. I could make 3 rows of the 3 back there. I think that might work out, or do a row here and 2 rows that way. I'm not sure yet, still working that out. But for now, I'm thrilled that I got this set up. Maybe I'll do some planters on the top. Whole idea is I'm trying to get as much full sun onto these flower beds as possible. These metal frames are perfect. They're perfect, and it did a nice job. The 2 tiers did an okay job. I was able to grow stuff on the lower portions, you know, green beans and peppers. I did peppers. You know, everything grew in there, but it doesn't grow to its full potential like the top row because it doesn't get the full sun. So I'm trying to optimize this space to get as much full sun planting beds as possible, and that's the whole point of this thing, is so I can hang more and get more full sun. Now I know I'm going to block some of it with the beams, but overall it's going to give me better usable full sun flower beds, or full sun garden beds. You can probably see that this beam here is really warped. I don't care. It's actually not going to bother me at all, and it actually might even help me a little bit when the weight gets on this. That's a 2x8. It's southern yellow pine. They're approximately 12.5 feet long. So they'll manage the weight, and I put that 2x across the top so they didn't get all twisty this way. You can see they're already, probably see that they're already kind of twisty, but this lumber I picked up off the side of the road, just this big pile of lumber, and I took these things because you don't find 14-foot 2x8s laying on the side of the road every day, and when you do, you pick them up. And now they're going to serve my purpose even further. They were originally the roof joists of my former paint booth / extraction room. It started as a paint booth. I cleaned it up, made it an extraction room. I've since built the extraction room, so they're being repurposed again out here for my garden bed. So that's what I try to do, is try to use everything I have and pick up as much as I can and use it without having the expense of purchasing things. You're always going to need to purchase some things like hardware, sometimes lumber materials, but get as much of this stuff for free as you can. And it's a lot of stuff laying around all over the place. I'm in construction, so I come across a lot of it more often, but that doesn't mean that you can't find stuff too. You can go to construction sites, go to dumpsters. You're going to find stuff. I find plenty of long lumber all the time from old houses being demoed, big floor joists, things like that that are 12, 15 feet long, that there's nothing wrong with except for the fact that they're being torn out so they can put new ones in. So I grab all that kind of stuff when I can, and that material's saved me so much money over the years of trying to do this kind of stuff, that if you get a little creative, you can save a lot of money. So here I am, getting creative, saving a lot of money. Later.